After witnessing the deaths of S-rank hunters, the A-rank reporter stood frozen in fear. The ant army was relentless, pushing back with overwhelming force. The reporter, overwhelmed by the sheer carnage, lost all hope. He accepted his fate. But then, a dark shadow appeared before him. With terrifying speed, the shadow pierced through the attacking ants. The battlefield trembled. Who was this warrior? Meanwhile, in the broadcast room, chaos erupted. The team believed every hunter had fallen. Panic set in. Was this the end? But then, someone appeared. A figure cloaked in darkness, exuding an immeasurable presence. Who was this Black Knight? And more importantly, what was this overwhelming power? It was Sung Jin-woo, leading his shadow army. With a single command, his shadow surged forward. Iron stepped up, using his taunt skill, drawing the ant army's attention. The battlefield shifted. Jin-woo slashed through the horde with ease, his blade cutting through the enemies like a storm. The Korean hunters were stunned, unable to comprehend what was happening. But Hunter Baek Yoon-ho knew. He turned to the others and said firmly, "Trust that man and his shadow army." The battle intensifies. Jin-woo knew it was time to end this. With a commanding voice, he called out, "Arise!" The battlefield trembled as the fallen ants rose again, now part of his shadow army. The undead insects turned against their former kin, launching a brutal assault. Jin-woo moved toward the injured hunters, retrieving healing potions and tending to their wounds. But Cha Hae-in's condition was dire. A potion alone wouldn't be enough. She needed immediate hospitalization. Jin-woo turned to the others. "Get outside. You'll be safer there." But before they could move, a terrifying presence filled the dungeon. The Ant King had arrived. Still enraged from killing Goto Ruji, the Ant King demanded, "Where's the king?" Silence, shock, fear. And then Jin-woo stood up. He walked forward. The aura emanating from him was suffocating. It sent chills down the spines of everyone present, including the Ant King himself. Yet the monster smirked. Jin-woo marked his prey. A city in shock. Just minutes ago, the world had watched in horror. Every single S-rank hunter had fallen. They couldn't believe it. The strongest hunters of Korea. Wiped out. The live broadcast had gone down. But now it was back. And what they saw shocked them to their core. A shadow army, unlike anything they'd ever seen, stood at the ready. The Japanese Hunter Association was in chaos. Goto Ruji was dead. Was this monster going to kill the Korean hunters next? But then, on their monitors, an unimaginable mana reading appeared. Someone strong. Someone beyond human. A memory surfaced. Goto Ruji had warned them. There's someone in Korea. Someone powerful. And now he had arrived. The showdown begins. The Ant King struck first, launching a devastating punch at Jin-woo. The impact shattered the dungeon walls. The force was colossal. Dust and debris filled the air. The hunters gasped. Was it a critical hit? The Ant King grinned, believing he had won. But as the dust settled, Jin-woo stood there, unmoved. Coughing up a little blood, he raised his head. The Ant King's smirk vanished. Jin-woo's hand reached out. With commander's touch, he gripped the Ant King's face and slammed him into the dungeon floor. The monster soared through the air, smashing into the cavern walls. The hunters were in disbelief. He's a mage. How can a mage do that? But a single attack wouldn't hold the Ant King. It charged back at full speed. Jin-woo smiled. He was enjoying this. The Ant King attacked furiously, slamming both arms down toward Jin-woo. With just one hand, Jin-woo blocked it effortlessly. And then his fist drove into the monster's gut. A ferocious hand-to-hand battle began. The reporter watched, overwhelmed. He felt insignificant. But then again, who wouldn't? The Ant King's desperation. The Ant King's chin in his body cracked. Fear crept into its mind. What is this? Who is this terrifying human? Jin Woo was giving it no chance to retaliate. Every second, his attacks grew more brutal, more relentless. Desperate, the Ant King unleashed its venomous stinger, slashing across Jin Woo's face. Poison dripped from the wound. For a brief moment, the Ant King thought it had won. It lunged to the finishing blow. But then, the great spellcaster Kandiru's blessing, detoxification activated. Jin Woo grabbed the Ant King's wrist. The monster's eyes widened. A split second later, Jin Woo's fist smashed into its skull, sending it flying across the dungeon. The Ant King coughed out blood. It was terrified. This human was a demon. Jin Woo's increased stats allowed him to feel the Ant King's emotions. It's nervous. The hunters sensed it too. With a thunderous leap, Jin Woo launched forward. A devastating kick cracked the dungeon floor. But the Ant King dodged at the last second. It knew a direct hit would mean death. Instead, it shrank its body, relying on speed. Jin Woo smirked. Round 2. He summoned his daggers. The battle resumed. The end of a king. The Ant King was fast, but Jin Woo was faster. His attacks shattered sound itself. Blades clashed. Fists collided. The Ant King realized the truth. This man is stronger than the Demon King. And then Jin Woo activated a new skill. Critical Strike. A flurry of 1,000 slashes tore through the monster in a fraction of a second. The Ant King's wings were severed. Its arms were sliced off. Desperate, it called for reinforcements. The ant army surged forward. But Jin Woo? He simply smirked. Arise. The dungeon shook. His shadow army appeared, standing before him. The final battle had begun. But it was never a battle. It was a massacre. The shadow army killing all the ants in one go. He summoned Tusk and tells him kill all the ants. Tusk gigantifies a body and fires a huge breath of fire. Ant King couldn't believe how is this possible. He meant to be the strongest. Then how? Using Min Byung-Yu's ability, he healed himself and started fleeing from the fight. Jin Woo couldn't let that happen. Grabbed 60 Ant King with ruler's authority smashing on the floor, and then slicing it with mutilate again and again. And as the dust settled, and system prompt enemy has been defeated, level up, the Ant King lay defeated.